Shouty Show segment. And let's go. Let's just go with Shouty Show part number 1.
Yards per rush, dead last. Red zone offense, 30th. Total defense, 24th. Rushing defense, 25th. Scoring defense, 30th. Red zone, 30th. I mean, damn. There is nothing that they are doing that is right. So you can't stop the run. You can't run. You can't stop the pass. You can't pass. You can't block, okay? And you can't stop people from blocking you. You know who should be the person, Shay, that should be celebrating today, that should be the happiest man. He should be happier than the pig in mud. That's Derrick Henry. Because I know that he's running roughshod in Baltimore, right? He wanted to be in Dallas. Guess what? Had he gone to Dallas, it might have hurt his stock. They can't block for him. They can't block for him.
Legend. Stephen A. Legendary. Legendary reaction.
I hate it so much.
All I need is his old friend Skip throwing the jersey in the garbage
Do you
again.
think that, Shannon Sharpe is a Shouty Show type of person, but he is also a Hall of Fame tight end who knows football. Do you think does he sit there watching this knowing that Stephen A. doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to football? Does that grate, or does he just this is great, this is entertainment. This is what I'm here for?
Yeah, I mean, they know what they've signed up for. My favorite part is when Stephen A. gets all analytical, right?
Reading the numbers
He's got
that
the
somebody
numbers.
has supplied him with.
Yeah. It's like, again, I'm
Like
picture the production meetings.
The
right?
meeting was, I'm about to go off on the Cowboys, and somebody was then tasked with giving him rankings.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Right? Like on Sunday night, Stephen A., what are we talking about tomorrow? Number 1, Cowboys suck. That's it. Like, that's the email that he returns. And then he's got, a personal assistant going through, and this will back up your points. And if you inflect your voice a little bit, it might add a little impact when you do that.
I hate that
Here's
works.
a little red zone offense for you. Like Stephen A. sitting there grinding Cowboys tape like, man, that red zone offense just not doing it. Mike's not calling the plays, and nobody's getting open, and Dak's not seeing it in the red zone. No, he's just yelling out the red zone offense. Ranking.
I just hate that it works. It's like it's a pantomime. Like it's not real. It's fake, and it annoys me that it's successful because Stephen A. Smith does not have the football knowledge to be commenting on the NFL. He just doesn't, right? And it's not even just the NFL. He doesn't have the MMA knowledge either. But his pantomime bullshit is so successful that they put him in front of every audience because he's the thing that moves the needle. I hate that.
I think he had a baseball take a couple weeks ago. Like, literally, when was the last time Stephen A. Smith sat through a 2.5-hour baseball game?
Right.
When was the last time?
Has he ever?
And he Stephen A., I need your take on the Mets.
Yeah.
Let me know what you think about
Got
the
it.
Mets.
Don't worry about it. Got it covered.
I blame all of this on MTV and The Real World.
MTV.
I think The Real World, which was staged.
Yes.
I think The Real World, that show set us all back decades as humans. I think that started. And then you have stuff like Survivor, and you had kind of a whole new genre of reality shows that are just staged mostly.
You know what it's like? So it's kind of like, you've seen The Terminator, I assume.
Yeah.
Classic, right?
Yeah.
That we're headed inexorably towards right now with AI. But the moment where the software became self-aware and immediately just mashed the nuke button, right? At some point, we've always known, there's that classic newspaper adage, if it bleeds, it leads. We've always known negativity and this kind of stuff sells. People engage with that. But at some point, the institution became self-aware and was like, well, hang on. In which case, why don't we just make everything shouty? Why don't we just amplify the noise? Just whatever it is we're covering, let's just make it loud, obnoxious, and shouty because that's what people want. And now we just sell, it just snowballs. That's what happened. Somewhere along the line, people like Skip Bayless and Stephen A. just were like, well, hang on. If this is the stuff that does well, why don't we just make this the whole shtick? And it worked, and I hate that.
Can I just tell you really quick? I don't want to go off the rails too much. I've told this story on the show before, but I don't remember when. It was probably a while ago. Do you know my first experience? Do you remember? I remember when I first realized that it was a shouty show, that what I was watching. When I was in college, the show Cold Pizza was on ESPN2, and they tried to make it like a Good Morning America type of like sports centric show. It was kind of
Right.
cool. They brought in gadget people. They had fun little segments. Always had it on in the background during college. This was probably say '02, and then in '07, I just always had this on in the background. And all of a sudden, a guy named Skip Bayless is on there.
Yeah.
And they asked him a question. This is '07. The two best quarterbacks in the league at the time are Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. The question was, who would you rather have, Tom Brady or Peyton Manning? Do you know what his answer was? He says, I would rather have Vince Young or Jay Cutler because they're more clutch.
Got it.
And all of a sudden, like this caught my ear in the background. I was like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
And then I said, never again. And I turned it off.
Right. But the
And
problem
here
is,
we are 15 years later, and I'm listening to it.
The problem is 85% of people went in the opposite direction and went, this is gold. I got to keep watching this.
This is great. Got to hear
Yeah.
it. Tell me why Vince Young's better than Peyton Manning.
Right.
Tell me more. I need more.
So,
As do we.
speaking of Skip Bayless, I believe he's up next.
Number 2.
How in the name of Thomas Wade Landry does Mike McCarthy still have a job? I asked that question after last year's home playoff game in which we were the 2 seed playing the 7 seed Packers, the youngest team in the league. And the Packers had us down 27-0 before halftime. Jerry, how do you not fire McCarthy? It's because he's your best friend and maybe your only friend. Happy birthday, Jerry, 82. And I'm dying over here.
Oh, Skip. We set him up for that.
These are self-published hot takes now. He's
I was
just
going to
out
say,
here-
where are these coming from?
He's just out here like self-publishing or like Amazon, I've written a book. I've self-published. Here's the link. That's just Skip. His own show now. Just Skip spewing Dallas Cowboys bullshit.
Imagine what's going on in his head. It's like, man, I'm off the air now, but the people need this. They need to know, like,
I owe this to my audience.
I'm sure every Dallas fan is sitting here watching us lose, watching the Cowboys lose 47-9. And instead of just lamenting their team and thinking about how they could fix it, and they're like, man, I just got to know what Skip thinks about this loss.
So this is also, though, where I struggle. This is why, again, I can't be a shouty show person, because I can't ask questions to which I obviously know the answer. Like, I can't, why is this not? I know why that's not happening. Like, we know why he hasn't fired Mike McCarthy, because Mike McCarthy's in the last year of his deal, and generally over the last few years, they've won 12 games, right? Yeah, we've had a rough start, and maybe in a different building, Woody Johnson would have gone, thinking's overrated. Quote, actual quote that he gave to the media yesterday. Maybe Woody Johnson would have gone, you know what, thinking's overrated, just fire the guy, right? And he would have booted Mike McCarthy out of the building, and we'd have a whole new coach. Jerry Jones doesn't do that. For better or worse, and it's probably worse at this point, it's not a move that's going to happen. So why ask the question?
Do you have a billionaire take on Jerry going on the Attacking the Radio show?
I already gave you my billionaire take, that if he was...
The people need it.
Look, obviously, morally, Jerry Jones probably shouldn't be on radio stations saying that, threatening to make the host lose their job. I'll get 2 more people in the chair if you're going to ask me questions I don't like. But as a billionaire, look, if he was a good billionaire, Howard Hughes would have bought that station already, and it would be playing Freebird on loop. It wouldn't be a Cowboy station anymore. It would be playing Howard Hughes' favorite song every minute. And if he had to, hey, I didn't catch this, rewind it, he would just reboot the song to the start, right? That's what that station would be doing, not threatening to fire the host.
On its way to becoming a parking lot within a few years.
Right, yeah. Take
This is
it,
before I destroyed the
turn
whole
it
thing.
into gravel.
So, in other words, Jerry Jones, pretty tame billionaire, merely threatening people's jobs.
And this is the Jerry Jones story, right? We think of him as this eccentric Howard Hughes guy. I'm going to land my chopper in the middle of the field, right? He's not. He's quietly much more normal than that. For example, even that chopper thing, right? You saw that, right? The landing the chopper in practice.
Yeah.
It looked like that chopper was going to drop itself at the 50-yard line, and Jerry would just get out, and everyone had to clear. No, it went off into the corner somewhere where the helipad was. It just parked quietly in the side. He's not that guy. He likes to play that guy, but he isn't that guy.
I think it's more that he's stuck on his priors. It's like, I believed in Mike McCarthy. I believed in Jason Garrett.
He's just not a knee-jerk guy. Think of Jason Garrett. Think of how long he clung on to Jason Garrett, right? He's not firing Mike McCarthy after, 5 games.
Can't wait to see what happens after this year, though.
Yes. Well, next year, that's different. I think people's contracts might not be renewed, but he's not doing it.
Potentially.
He's not doing it week 6.
No. All right. Let's hear number 3 here.
We are absolutely back in business.
Yep.
Just when I thought we were done, we are back in it. The Jets are going to go on. Listen to me right now, McAfee.
Okay.
The Jets are going to win 7 of their next 9 games.
Okay.
Rodgers is going to get hot as hell.
Woo!
This is not going to make Garrett Wilson unhappy. It's going to unlock Garrett Wilson. This offense is suddenly going to look markedly better. That will bring a little fire to the defense. This is exactly what we needed, and we are back. And I got the jersey back to prove it.
Happy for you, Greeny.
Hell yeah, Greeny.
All right, I have a Greenberg question for you because I didn't grow up with, Mike and Mike wall to wall, et cetera. So I'm not too familiar with his earlier career baseline. Has Mike Greenberg always been like opinionated and a take show guy, or is this an evolution of the last couple of years?
I'd never listened to Mike and Mike for a couple of reasons. I grew up in the Boston area where ESPN radio, when that started, like their tentacles of ESPN radio started spreading out across the nation. It didn't happen in Boston. We had local sports radio.
It
So
couldn't penetrate the Boston market.
No, it could not. The fact that Boston went from 1 station to 2 back in 09-ish was like a minor miracle. It was local radio. So if you're in like Philadelphia or I think New York, Boston, you get your local radio. ESPN radio, that goes to the places that don't have. I mean, Boston radio, you would have loved Boston radio back in the day.
But I always got the impression that Mike Greenberg was more of the sort of standard host guy, and then now he's becoming a shouty show.
But when it was Mike and Mike, I mean, the little that I heard of it, I think they both gave their opinions. I don't know how much of a blatant Jets fan he's been.
I think he's always been that. But that because that makes it even more fake to me, right? Like, we know that Stephen A. and Skip Bayless are playing characters, but they've always played those characters. Whereas Greenberg appears to be, in front of our very eyes, transitioning from relatively moderate host to hot take shouty guy. And I'm like, you can't do that like after 20 years of this. Like I don't care what you think.
I mean, I think more for me is the national sports media has always tried to be unbiased, or they've always tried to show themselves as unbiased. And I feel like that's been broken a lot in recent years.
Deliberately.
And that part I don't understand either. So basically anything that I don't understand
right?
is growing and becoming more. Like I don't
understand. You do understand it. You just don't like it. Like
I hate it. Like I don't understand how. Now listen, he's a guest on McAfee.
Yeah.
That's fine. I think that's kind of funny, right? Like that's like he's playing the role of
but
delusional
he's also doing
Jets
this in his
fan.
own show.
I know. I don't understand it on your own show or on a Get Up or anything like that.
But you get it. It's the same. The program has become self-aware. Like they have understood that this engagement, like, oh look, he's a Cowboys fan, he's burning his jersey. Like people have twigged that this is a thing. This gets people engaged. This creates furore. Mike Greenberg openly advertising that he's an angry Jets fan moves the needle. So let's do that more.
I think people love relishing in other people's sadness, right?
Sure.
Especially like college football, like nothing. Your own college football team could lose, but you're like, well, the rival lost, and you just watch the rivals be sad, and you're okay, right? People do like that a lot, but like Greenberg and like the Skip is like, oh, I'm the mad Cowboys fan. But Greenberg is like the delusional, optimistic Jets fan at all times. Every move is like, all right, this is the Super Bowl. Like, I don't understand how anyone from the other 31 fan bases actually wants to hear and listen to that and relate to optimistic Jets fan. Sorry.
I mean, I just think it's just another branch of this. Like we have discovered that actually engages people. So we're going to lean into it, even if it's fake and manufactured.
Greeny says the Jets are back again. Like they're sitting here at 2-4. He was going to be sad, but instead they flew Devontae Adams in overnight. Now they're back and we're good.
Now they're going to the Super Bowl.
Now it's the Super Bowl.
All right. Do we have a last one?
That was 3.
No, I think there's one more.
There's a 4th?
I believe so.
You must be new to the Levis party because if you know anything about this party, they're not very good.
How the
hell he get these commercials then, man?
He eats
I
them,
mean,
man.
See, that's the problem with America.
He's got taste
That's the
buds
problem
like
with
Dan
America
Orlovsky.
right there. Right there's the problem with America. We got to stop rewarding mediocrity. You understand what I'm trying to say? You should be able to accomplish it. How you gonna get a mayonnaise commercial? You understand? And you looking like, and you playing like that?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
We got to
come
we
on.
should start.
Yeah, I stand with Stephen A. Can't be rewarded mediocrity. I tell my kids, we do not celebrate expected accomplishments. Like, oh, you lost a tooth? You want money for that? You're supposed to lose your teeth. You know what I'm saying?
Did you see the clip, which I assume was taken from a Manning passing academy, where Will Levis asked Peyton Manning, how do you manage, the commercial side of it, endorsements, putting your brand out there with being a quarterback, being a football player? And Manning obviously was like, well, look, I've done my fair share of commercials down the years. But he sort of said, you've got to make sure football comes first and don't give people the ammunition for this, right?
How did he tactfully say, I was good before I got the commercials?
So that's what it boils down to, right? That's the problem. Like, go get your money, go get your endorsements, do whatever, but you got to be good. Otherwise, you're going to take crap for it because people like Stephen A are just waiting for it. Look, Will Levis has got a commercial and he's playing like crap right now. Let's hit him. You're like, it's either if you genuinely believe that Will Levis filming a Mayo commercial is impacting his play right now, it's a valid point. If you just want to crap on him because he's playing badly, it's bullshit. It's nothing. It's not like, again, do you think that Will Levis's commercial endeavors are currently affecting his NFL play?
No.
Either because he's busy right now filming or because when he should have been doing something previously, he was busy filming. No?
No, I don't think it affects.
Then it's a meaningless criticism. It's a waste of everybody's time.
Yeah, it just makes you, maybe you're not going to get more endorsements.
Now,
you might not be starting long.
Because again, this is an argument that's evolved as well. Like, that used to be the criticism. Oh, if he's too focused on the commercials, right? And that means he's not in the film room grinding, right? That's our problem right here. Now they've realized that that's not what's going on and that that's kind of a disingenuous argument. And they're just simply making the argument that you are not good enough to have that commercial. That's who made Stephen A the arbiter of who deserves to get commercial money? I mean, just piss off.
I mean, Will Levis could easily turn around and be like, forget it. Forget it. I mean, Stephen A has been grinding Will Levis film, and he could tell that he's not seeing the field, and he needs to get in his playbook more. And you're not, if you are doing mayonnaise commercials, you're not in your playbook.
Right.
The biggest red flag in all of this is that Will Levis put mayonnaise in his coffee, and we should have seen all of the crazy on-field play coming based off of that in college. We knew that at the time. He's dipping bananas into mayo. He's putting mayo in coffee.
And eating.
We should know he's going to have falling over pick sixes and falling over interceptions, and he's going to be taking out ball boys on the sideline. We should have seen this coming at Kentucky.
I can't remember who tweeted this, but it's amazing, and I wish I could give them credit because it's genius. Somebody tweeted back in like 2022 or something, right? Remember when Will Levis just took a bite out of a banana without peeling it? He tweeted that, like, banana skins contain some trace element of like some dangerous chemical that causes mental imbalances. He's like, Levis is going to be a turnover machine at the next level. I'm like, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. He tweeted it, like he retweeted it like yesterday. It was like, I told you. My scouting notes, they had it nailed. I'm like, that's phenomenal.
Really Brian in the chat says Steve needed that 33rd team money after bankrolling the Tooth Fairy for 4 kids.
Yeah.
See, that's why we had to cut off the Tooth Fairy. There's too many kids, too many teeth.
Tooth Fairy's got expensive. It's inflation along with everything else. Kids they're not happy with $1. You got to have higher notes than that these days.
We do not, as you heard earlier, we do not celebrate the Tooth Fairy in my home.
We don't celebrate it.
No.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.